you like monsters in the night, and you feel the danger that makes you wanna hide. When the cards are stacked against you and you're standing on the edge, now's the time, now's the time. Think about all the dreams you keep inside. Think about all the ones you love. I know this beating heart will be my guide. I know that we can overcome. When the world's so cold and we're losing hope, I need her, I need her. When the darkness comes and we're overrun, yeah, I need her. That's when we need each other. 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 When you're falling faster and don't know where you are, you feel the danger closer than your heart. When the weight is getting heavy and the future is unsteady, close your eyes, close your eyes. Think about all the dreams you keep inside. Think about all the ones you love. I know this beating heart will be my guide. I know that we can overcome. When the world's so cold and we're losing hope, I need her, I need her. When the darkness comes and we're overrun, yeah, I need her. That's when we need each other. 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 Won't you come over? Dying to know where you came from. We're breaking open. Feel like our future's just begun. And all I know is that we lost time. If we stay right here, we could free ourselves inside. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together. Just lead me into your world. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away where no one knows. Let's run away together on our own. Just lead me into your world. could free ourselves inside. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away when no one knows. Let's run away together. Just lead me into your world. We'll stay awake forever. We'll hide away when no one knows. Let's run away together on our own. Just lead me into your world.
Okay,
We're
we
here.
are back live. It took a bit of time, but we just wanted to make sure everything was sorted. So yeah, apologies on that, but it looks good. I think everything's a little bit better than it was last time. So
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
yeah, it's okay. I don't think anyone was in the stream last time. But basically, Nathan had no audio the entire stream. So for what? I think it was a 2-hour stream, wasn't it? It was long.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for 2 hours, I was just talking to myself, which is why the VOD isn't up. Don't worry, we're gonna pull clips from it, so it's not like you'll lose any content. But yeah, like it sucks. 2 hours of nothing, basically. No one's seen it. That's just live and died on the internet for about a day. Not even, for about an hour.
Yep.
So kind of cooked, but you know what? We move. We learn, and now we won't make that mistake again, because I've not really fixed it, but it's fine. It's a temporary solution.
Yeah.
I think it's just bugged, so there's not really anything we can do about it. I just gotta pray that it doesn't bug.
Yeah.
I swear I could hear him very low, but still. I mean, we don't really... I mean, did we confirm if, like, you could hear you at any point?
I looked at like the first like half hour, and whenever I talked, it was just blank. So I doubt anything changed.
Yeah, we're not on a... If you're thinking about the last stream, Panda, like... It was like a stream, what? When was it? Sunday?
It was...
Saturday?
The first one was...
It was Saturday,
Tuesday, no?
right? No, but the one where we had no audio.
Oh, yeah, Saturday.
Saturday.
Was it?
Yeah, it was the one... I think so. It was on the weekend, right?
It's not Sunday. I don't know. Whichever one it was.
Either one. It was on the weekend. So, well, there's only one, so either way people would know. So, yeah. God, I know what you mean about my screen, like, changing colours now. Whenever I'm on blue team, my, like, or, like, whenever I'm on the blue side of the pitch, my, like, thing is super bright. And then when I go to the orange, like, now...
Your face changes colors.
It's so stupid. Really, and then when I get closer to the
goal,
goal,
it's so vibrant.
When I get closer to the goal, it gets more orange. So I guess you know which team I'm on.
Play it on like the Forbidden Temple map, and you'll have like the craziest colors.
Oh yeah, wait. Let's try that quickly. Let's try that. Why not? I don't even know where it is. Let's see.
I have to wait for the fucking camera to load.
Yeah, it is very it gets bright. Now I'm orange. Let's
actually
go.
like a disco in your room, man.
Right, let's change off this crap map. You know what? It's a small thing, but like I think this actually, I don't know if this actually helps. I just like to do it. But for RLCS, I like to always play on Champions Field in free play because it just means that like I'm on this map so much that whenever I go to like a game 7 or a game 5 in a tournament, like I don't look at the map and go like, okay, right, this is it. Like I'm just used to playing on that map. Like it's just, you know, that's literally where I live. I don't know if that's a bit of a goofy thing, but
it is a bit of a goofy thing. But like, whenever you play like day 3 or something, does it just like the normal map rotation?
Yeah. Like... In like that RLCS, it's normal. Also, I just hit a pretty cool sidewall.
Sure, buddy.
It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad at all. Like, it was clean, that's what I'll say. It was nothing fancy, but
Alright.
yeah. Pink! Oh god. Okay, right. So what do we have to talk about? What is the first topic?
So first of all, we're gonna cover a question that has been asked multiple times at this point, and it is
Oh.
how to stop tilting, how to avoid tilting in ranked, and whatever else.
That's a pretty big question. What is it? Have they put anything in brackets after, or is it literally just how to avoid tilt in general?
It is. One sec. How do you stay mentally strong during losing streaks or when deranking, and how can you tell if you're actually improving despite losses?
Okay, I mean that. Yeah, okay. Right. Let me just. Okay, yeah. Okay. So first of all, ranked. So this is specifically about rank, correct? There was nothing. This is pure
Yeah, I
rank.
believe so.
Okay. So for a ranked, it's completely different. Well, not completely, but I'll talk about how to notice you're improving first because it'll kind of lead into stuff. So first thing is do not worry about the wins and losses, the outcome of your game, because you're looking at it too black and white. There is a much bigger picture at hand than your single, ranked loss. Welcome to the stream. So my brain is blanking right now. I can't lie.
Oh my god.
Okay. Yeah, but there's a much bigger picture. If you look at or if you think about your past experiences, you aren't going to remember your rank game from last week, from a day ago, probably, from a month ago, from a year ago, even if you don't plan on having a bigger picture like RCS. Because usually what I'd say to how do you avoid tilting at ranked is I'd say, remember, ranked isn't going to do anything. That one rank game isn't going to be the difference between you making your career and, completely flopping. That's what RLCS is. But if you're not someone who's obviously going to play an RLCS, then ranked kind of is the, I guess, the big point. But the thing is, once again, that single rank game, it's still applicable. It doesn't matter. If you're trying to push for SSL, if you lose the game, that's going to get you to SSL. It's not like once you're done with that game, it's over. There's no more. You can't play again. You have to just give it up there. You can keep playing. That one game, yeah, now you're 2 games off of SSL. But in the end, that doesn't matter because as long as you learn from each game, that's the only thing that matters. So in terms of mental, go into every single rank game without a care of what your teammates do. Don't care about what your opponents do and how dumb they are. The only thing you need to even care about in the slightest is, are you learning something from that game? I don't care if you lose the game 7-0. If you lose the game and you come out of it and go, okay, right, what did I do wrong? And you notice something. Doesn't have to be big. It could be the smallest thing. You might go, okay, my kickoffs were really bad then. I was flipping too early. I was rotating too wide. I don't know, whatever. As long as you notice something, doesn't matter how minute it is, it's going to build up. And this is, you know what? I always say this, Panda will know. Anyone who knows me personally will know. I despise ranked. I say it's pointless. I think it's the biggest waste of time. I would say you gain a significantly more benefit more from just sitting in free play and doing scrims if you're more competitive. But that isn't exactly why I believe that. The reason I believe it is because people autopilot ranked. They play ranked with no thought. They just sit there and think, okay, I'm playing Rocket League. That's it. That's all it is. I'm improving as long as I play. That's not true. You'll improve, but it might take 10, 20 times longer compared to if you just sit there and think. So I don't actually think rank's that bad. I just think you really need to focus on each game learning something. That's all that matters. It really doesn't matter, as I said, if you lose or win. Just as long as you think about the outcome. So yeah, in terms of how do you notice you're improving? If you can come up with something at the end of the game where you can say something about your previous game, you're improving. You are learning something and you're noticing something. What you've got to do with that information, though, is something. You can't just ignore it. You can't just go, right, this game, my mechanics, I played them too slow, and because of it, I kept getting challenged really easily. Let's say that's something I've noticed. I've got to then take that into the next game. Like, if you don't think about it in the slightest, you'll flop. Even if you notice something, you won't be too accurate with applying it. So for someone who's lower, they're not going to be able to apply something perfectly. You're probably going to have a pretty big issue with that. So the way to kind of like notice that is honestly, okay, here's my advice. Play a game, notice one thing, minimum. One thing, doesn't have to be complex, could be simple. Notice that one thing and then just make a mental note of it. And in the next game, really focus on it. You know, every time you get into a situation, let's say I need to control the ball more. Every time you get into a situation where you're close to the ball, think about controlling it. End of. And you'll, hopefully in that single game, you'll notice the improvement. You'll go, wow, yeah, I did control it more. But then you need to notice another thing after. So make sure you keep the cycle up. But short term, that sort of mental note should help you a lot. You should notice it. Long term, you'll forget about that mental note. And when I say long term, I mean within like 5 to 10 ranked games. Depends on your level, obviously. But a lower person might forget about what they talked about in a couple of games. Because remember, you are constantly adding something. You know, game 1, I might say I need to control the ball more. And then game 2, I might say I need to boom the ball in these positions. Then game 3, you might say rotate wide. So it kind of builds up and you start to, over time, you'll eventually forget. But anyone who's been coached before, you kind of have this sort of deja vu feeling. And you'll get that. If you keep doing this, trust me, you'll get that sort of deja vu feeling where you're like, oh, I made this decision because of me thinking about it 5 games ago or whatever. So it's kind of hard to notice. It's not the easiest. But if you're noticing something at the end of a game and in the next game you're actively thinking about it, trust me, you're improving. Doesn't matter if you lose the next game 10-0 and then the next game 15-0, you know. As long as you have made that sort of like call in your head, then you're fine. That is as much as you need. Been grinding for weeks, but my rank doesn't improve, but actually falls. Okay, that'll be something to do with the tilt. We'll mention that now. Well, not tilt, but I'm learning to stop clearing straight to the other team. Smart. How do I get consistent rotation? We'll talk about it literally after. I think maybe something will link to that. Guess it's hard to know what it is I'm doing wrong sometimes.
It's a pretty easy topic, I think.
Yeah. Okay, right. So for this small thing on the rank tilting, I'm not going to talk about competitive at all. As in, what I mean by that is like pro, like RCS. That is a whole different thing. We'll just talk about ranked for this. So rank's a bit smaller. First of all, don't tilt at teammates. Blame yourself for literally everything. If you start to get into the habit of blaming your teammate for missing the ball and you blame the opponent for missing and it working out, you'll then fall into this trap where you start thinking the game's against you. You start calling everything lucky, saying everything's unlucky, whatever. And because of it, you blame the game, think the game's against you, and then naturally you just start to get annoyed at everything. It could be the smallest thing. You'll just start to get tilted at it. So to avoid that, blame yourself for literally everything. If you make the smallest mistake, you can blame yourself, and that'll also like push into the improvement, you know. It doesn't matter what your teammate does. If your teammate misses, let's say he misses the ball and it just goes in your net. Yeah, obviously that is his fault. He messed up. There's nothing you can do about your teammates. You can control your own actions, but not your teammates. So even if your teammate misses the ball and it goes in your net, think about what happened 5 seconds before. Could you have done something? Because you will have. There's always something you could have done better. Even if your teammate makes the biggest mistake of his life, you could always have done something better. So just make sure to take that into account. You don't care about what you can't control, essentially. That'll really help you to focus on improving and to avoid thinking like every ranked game really matters when it just doesn't. Really doesn't. Got to take accountability. Yeah, exactly. And taking accountability for things that like, you know, you might have played the scenario okay. Something where like it wasn't too bad. You know, you could have done better, but what you did was perfectly fine. And your teammate then might mess up. But it's not about your teammates mess up. It's about how could you have changed your okay play or your alright play to something perfect. You know, if you're not playing perfectly, you need to take accountability and look at your own actions. Don't think there's anything I missed on that, right?
No. Cover till, I think it's about it.
Hard to tell what I'm
Also remember that like rank
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Like it's just like as you said, like it's generally just a place to practice. It's essentially free play just with opponents. You know, like
Yeah.
just use it as a place to practice your mechanics. Practice anything you want to practice and just get better. Because at the end of the day, you're gonna go up if you improve, as you said.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. The short term doesn't matter.
Exactly. If you take each game as training rather than, life or death, trust me, you'll be in a much better
Yeah,
position.
exactly.
It's not about 10 MMR, 12 MMR, whatever it is. All that matters is, did you learn something from that game? Plus, if you think about it just logically, if you manage to learn something from a single game, then for the rest of, however much longer you play for, you're going to have that knowledge, So instead of that 5-minute game that you won, that 10 MMR isn't going to do anything long term. You've gained 10 MMR. But if you can learn something from that single game, you have that then for the rest of your career, basically. Or as long as you, play. I'll try to focus less on rank and just learning. Yeah. It's a pretty difficult thing to do. I would say one big benefit, or like one big thing to do, go onto your settings and turn scoreboard off. I know it's so small. Genuinely, I have noticed myself playing better with scoreboard off. I don't, because sometimes I end up, and you'll notice this more when it comes to competitive and like RLCS, for example. Sometimes you play perfect Rocket League and you'll drop 100 points. And you've played perfect Rocket League, genuinely. Look at Zen. Zen's had it multiple times. He plays perfect game and he ends up having 100 points. And points don't matter, but sometimes it can hurt just seeing that. It's like the MMR, it can hurt looking at a number even though, it doesn't matter. And yeah, sometimes I'd notice, I have 100 points even though I'm playing well. And I think I'd have to change something. But you don't. You really don't. If you're playing good, it doesn't matter what your points reflect. It doesn't show how well you played. And the other thing, if you want to avoid tilting, turn off chat sometimes. It's always nice to do. I don't have mine off right now, but whenever I have a bad rank session, I definitely turn these off. Sometimes it's just annoying. So yeah, 2 small things. I'd recommend them. It's pretty useful. Does hurt the ego a bit when I go from Champ 2 to Diamond 2. That is, honestly, probably the worst thing. You know what? I'm curious, Nathan, do you have anything on that? Because for those of you who don't know, I played with Nathan, like, competitively, but then he quit for a year, 2? I don't know.
2 years. 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. And then you came back, and obviously, you will have been worse when you came back. How did you, overcome that? Because you were really good mentally. Like, I never saw a mental issue with you.
What do you mean? Like, how was I? Like, how did I
Like,
bounce
how did
back
you?
from-
Yeah, how did you overcome? Because I know it is a pretty harsh feeling going from, being at a certain level and then dropping, and then you're like 1v1. 1v1's perfect example. I used to be a 1500 ones player nearly, and then going back to ones and being 1300 and barely shitting on people. It kind of sucks. So how did you avoid that? Or like,
Yeah, I mean, for ones, it's definitely hard because like if you quit for a long time, the meta changes. People play so much differently. Like it used to be people in ones were actually good at ones. Now it's just people chase. But overall, I think it's just like a lot of it's just accepting like what the level you're at. Because if you think, oh yeah, I should be winning this, I should be winning this. Yeah, you probably should, but like you're not.
Mhm.
You know, like you just have to get better from what point you're at. Like if you don't, you're never gonna get back to the level that you're at. So what I did is I just you told me to do this. I just grinded mechanics, and like that just helped so much. Because that's the easiest thing to see improvement in. You're gonna feel better, and you're just gonna end up playing better.
Mhm.
So I mean that's what really helped me.
You know
Definitely the
what?
most.
That is a fair point. In your specific situation, Lovestar, honestly, grinding mechanics is very useful. Like not just for like Nathan is fully right. Even I'm grinding mechanics right now. That is, and I'm decently mechanical, and still to get that sort of
Sure,
fast
but-
improvement. Okay, I'm focusing on mechs,
Uh,
but the the way you can kind of see it is if you were champ 2 and now you're not, then so champ 2 is kind of your peak essentially, or compared to now it is. You need to find as many ways that you can improve to basically get back up to that level. And something that I remember some people have bad habits of, mainly in competitive, and I think this is kind of applicable, but some people have the bad habit of when they play good, they try to look at when they played good and purely copy it. And sure, that sounds good on paper, Let's say I played super good a month ago. Let me look at why I played good and then just copy it. And sure, it's a good thing to do. See where you looked better, but do not copy. And reason for that, you're just going to end up in the same position. If you were champ 1 and you look back at your champ 1 replays and try and copy it to the exact. Let's say you manage it. You won't, but let's just say hypothetically you manage it. You're going to be back at the exact same level. you won't have improved. You'll have just returned back to where you was. So I would say, honestly, do what I just said. It's fine to look back at your replays when you were champ 2, whatever, or, and just have a look and see what you're doing wrong. But don't just look where you're going wrong. Look at your gameplay and go, oh, wow, I'm not doing that anymore, so I can maybe do that. But don't copy. Instead, try and learn through different routes, If you don't, let's say you were champ 2 and you noticed you, I don't know, whatever, like you were really game sense good, but not mechanically good. Why don't you improve your mechanics? Because that way you're kind of taking a bit of a different avenue, and even if you then improve your decision making, instead of going back to champ 2, you'll go up to like champ 3, GC1 or whatever, because you'll have improved in the other aspects of the game that you lacked. So mechs are definitely good. You raise a really good point on that. Like, super simple. Even if you spend, think about it like this. Even if you spend 10 minutes a day, you're going to improve. You're going to be a lot better off than currently where you're doing none of it. So even spending 10, 20 minutes a day, and that's nothing. That really is nothing. That would benefit you a fuck ton, to be honest.
I mean, genuinely, we kind of talked about this in the first podcast. It was like you spend the first day you do it, you spend a long time on it, and then you just have to keep at that level, and it's naturally gonna improve.
Yeah.
You don't have to do. You can do five. Say the first day I spent an hour practicing shooting. I can do 5 minutes every day,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll stay at that level, and it's just gonna slightly improve every day.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally in free play, just think about what you're doing, and you'll be fine. Your mechs will get better and consistent.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the first podcast. The VOD is in the Discord server. Make sure to join if you haven't. I would advise looking at it. It was, we did a shot. I don't think it's up yet.
Yeah, we did. How to practice effectively or whatever.
Oh, yeah, it is up. Yeah, so there's also a short, but as Nathan just said, the one big thing from that was, keep at something. Spend, as Nathan said, spend an hour, a big time period, to kind of get familiar with it. And then from that day onwards, you can literally turn it down from 30 minutes to literally 5 minutes. And trust me, you'll be improving. It's crazy how useful that is. But yeah, we won't talk about that because that's all mentioned on the other thing. But yeah, grind mechs, super useful to just raise your level super quickly with honestly barely any effort.
Ground mechs, you said?
Just mechs.
Yeah.
Mechs in general.
I mean, generally, just play ones. That'll just consistency. Well,
What?
honestly, I've generally seen people for me. This happened for me.
Mhm.
Whenever I was I don't know, Diamond 2 maybe in twos. I started playing once, and I generally only played once for a week or something, or even more longer. And I promise you, this is not a joke. In one or half a season, I went from Diamond 2 to Champ 3.
Wow.
I'm not joking.
That is really impressive.
It's genuinely ones is just it helps so much. Yeah, you'll be a bit of out of touch from twos, but twos it's much easier to get used to twos than learn to play ones. It'll take you
Yeah.
not long at all.
With ones,
Yeah,
you
just
just
get so much
get so much more time on the ball, so you're just gonna build
Yeah.
up experience. I mean, twice as quick realistically compared to twos. So don't play threes. Definitely don't. You'll gain no experience. Trust me. Twos, great because you get to get experience with a teammate, but you also get enough time on the ball. Ones, literally, whenever someone asks you anything, ones is the answer. It's annoying. It's really annoying to know. But trust me, for example, me, I don't play ones anymore, really. But I played ones so much back in the day that I just have that experience now. I'm so well, experienced in ones when it comes to, 3v3, which is, the game that I play. Wow, just playing ones. Don't just play it, You've got to focus more on enjoying the game. But try and get at least 3 games a day in it. 3 games a day for me, when I didn't want to play ones that much, was the sweet spot of, I was still improving, but, it wasn't boring. But you should get more. 5 is perfect. If you can get that, it's amazing. Anything more is incredible. You're going to be miles ahead of literally everyone. Time to grab ones only for a year. The thing is as well, if it's your first time playing ones, you're going to improve so goddamn quick in it. Even from the first to the second game, it'll be such absurd improvement.
Yeah, and you don't even have to until you get to the higher levels. You generally just have to play ones. You don't have to look at replays. You don't have to watch anyone. You can't just look. You can watch people like Appjack and just see small things that they do.
Yeah.
Look at their kickoffs or something like that. But generally, just playing once, it's gonna I bet you, like in a week, you're gonna be back to champ 2 or whatever you were.
Yeah, you actually give good advice on that. What pros? Genuinely, I improved so much from just watching Jack play. It's not like I was analysing him. I wasn't sat there like, oh yeah, that, you know, I wasn't thinking about everything. But just watching Jack genuinely made me so much better. Because he talks about what he's doing as he does it. You can watch it in the background while you eat. Just in the background while you're in free play. Literally anything. One more thing though.
Before I go to bed.
Yeah, you actually watch it a lot. You said to me you made it like a habit recently to literally watch while you're eating as well, right?
All the time.
Yeah, so trust me, it's super useful. The one thing I do want to mention before we move on to like the other sub questions or whatever, it's about the improvement thing and only thinking about improvement. Back in the day when I was honestly like literally from like as soon as I got into ranked, which was I started off at plat basically. Because for those who don't know, just quickly thingy, I didn't have PS Plus back on the PS4 for like the first 3 months of Rocket League. So I was only in free play for 3 months, learning just air dribbles and shite. So when I came into ranked, I was just instantly plat, which was fortunate, but that's not the point. The thing I want to bring attention to is when I was all the way up until literally, I think about GC1, maybe even after, I genuinely never, and I mean never, cared about my rank. And I would always, like, it sounds dumb, but it's true. You can ask my old teammate or anyone. I double tapped every single open net. I didn't score an open in literally, if I could ever double tap something, I would. And there was no, like, it wasn't something I actively thought about at the time. It probably just naturally came because obviously I spent 3 months only doing mechanics. So I just kind of found that more fun. But genuinely, I only did double taps for, you know, in open nets, anything. If you look at the old like clips on my channel, you might see that, to be fair, that half of the goals are just me scoring open net double taps. But genuinely, I think that improved me a lot because I stopped caring and I kind of just had more fun with the game. So I naturally just played more. And also I was just practicing double taps literally 24/7. It's kind of the same way that, like, for example, if you practice stalls or wall dashes, you kind of practice them after every single goal. You know, when you get scored against and you get, like, launched away, you kind of practice, like, your wall dashes or your stalls or something. So it's kind of the same thing as that. You just get as much practicing, even if, you know, it's not like it matters. Who cares? Just practice. But yeah, kind of went on a side tangent fully, but it's fine.
It's good. It's good.
I don't even remember the... Oh, yeah, I do remember the original thing, yeah. So yeah, just take your games as improvement. That plus 10 MMR doesn't mean anything long term. What does matter long term is that single piece of information that you learn and you now, like, you know, you just have in the back of your mind. Even if you don't think about it actively, subconsciously, you'll at least think about it somewhat. So that's all that matters. So yeah, notice at least one thing in summary after each game, and then next game, focus on that thing that you thought about a bunch, and then repeat the cycle. Next game, think about something else, and then yeah, remember it and keep doing it. Trust me, that's the best way to improve. And always blame yourself as well. Never blame your teammates. If it's out of your control, you don't care. All you care about is what you can control. But yeah. What is the next sort of like
Next question.
sub? Yeah.
It is what mechanics should I focus on to get faster?
Oh,
Speed, flip, wave dash, wall dash, and which ones aren't worth the time? And are zap dashes actually useful to learn?
Okay, we'll talk about that in a second. I just have one quick thing to mention because someone said it in chat. How do you notice your mistakes? It can be hard, you know. As someone who is lower ranked and less experienced, it can be hard to notice your mistakes. My big advice, we mentioned this briefly, so I won't go into it too much. But basically, first of all, put the mistakes down to a super simple, very easy to understand and notice, like, style. So instead of looking at, like, basically, make it as simple as possible. Look at your replay, so have a look at replay, for example, and keep everything to the bare minimum. For example, a super simple one could be, did I beat the opponent? Did I not beat the opponent? Mark that down. You can use like a spreadsheet to mark that down. You can tally it up, so if it happens 5 times, 10 times, you know, you have it written. But by doing that, you can really easily notice your mistakes, because if you get beaten to a ball, you can very easily notice that. It doesn't take a lot of skill to go, wow, I got beat there. So keep it really simple. And then after that, you can kind of then start to think, why did you get beat there? Was it because you came in too quick? Did you just not have the boost for that scenario? What was it? And then, you know, you can kind of broaden it from there. But yeah, if my advice would be to look at a replay, look at any moment where you interact with the ball in any way, like at minimum. Just look at anything where you're close to the ball, and then just see. You know, as I said, keep it super simple. Did I get beat? Did I beat the opponent? Did I miss the ball? Did I have 0 boost? And then you can tally that up on a spreadsheet, you know, super simple. See which ones happened the most, and then just look at it. Just go, okay, I got beat 10 times in this replay. Why was that? And then you can look at those scenarios if you want and just go, okay, this one I didn't have the booster. This one, as I said, you come in too quick. This one I don't know. Anything. Just keep it simple. And then from that point onwards, you can kind of like, you can broaden it and make it a bit more in-depth. Start simple though. If you try and like just look at a replay as a whole, you'll panic. You won't know what to do. So break it down into those single moments by, as I said, only looking at where you interact with the ball, and then just, you know, coming up with a very simple solution or explanation. But we also mentioned that in the first stream, I'm pretty sure, so I don't want to go over it too much, but it is a really good point. But yeah, mechanics. Okay, what to practice. So, first of all, zap dashes, wall dashes, not pointless. They're super useful. I use them literally all the time, and they genuinely make me a better player instantly. These sort of mechanics, these sort of, I'm going to call them general mechanics, you know, stuff that you do off the ball and kind of just naturally around the pitch. Wave dashing, half flipping, stuff like that. If you're newer, make sure you learn wave dashing and half flipping as soon as you can. Like, literally, as soon as you have enough car control, learn that sort of stuff, because it's super useful. Even if, well, you're going to use the mechanics, but it also just kind of shows you a concept about the game. Like, for example, wave dashing. You can then do, you know, on-ball wave dashes and stuff, so just having, like, the kind of knowledge of them is super useful. But for more advanced, I'd say as soon as you can, learn chain dash, like wall dashes and what's it called, wall dashes and zap dashes. They are super useful. Genuinely, it doesn't matter what people say, they'll get you ahead of the curve. And those mechanics are actually even more important, or not, well, I guess not, but they're so, you have so much more benefits to them, because people don't have the effort to practice them. The same reason why, you know, mechanics as a whole, like double resets, are super useful, because other people don't think they need to learn them, but obviously, you know, you do. They're useful. So, like, half flipping, everyone knows. Everyone can do that. Zap dashing, most people neglect it. They think, oh, I don't have to do it. And sure, you don't, but anyone who does zap dash is going to be a million times quicker than you, so you kind of have to. And in 1v1, it's super important. Zap dashing, it's really useful.
For sure.
So yeah, think about it this way. Any mechanic is useful. I'm literally right now, I'm practicing Mac Tuffs more than anything. I haven't practiced any like comp mech for ages. I've just been doing Mac Tuffs for the past like week, literally, maybe longer. And genuinely, my car control has improved significantly, because it's not about that single mechanic. It's not about you hitting that Mac Tuff reset in a RCS game, in a comp game. It's about the car control you get from practicing that. So look at the bigger picture once again, same as we mentioned earlier. It's not the, you know, if you practice wave dashing, it's not the wave dash that's important by itself. It's the ability to then use it anywhere. So for example, you might learn how to wave dash like this. You know, that's how you're going to learn to wave dash. But then from that point onwards, you can start then using side dashes and then, you know, doing chain dashes. You can start jumping off a wall and dashing. There's so much more things that come from it. And then obviously, you know, on-ball wave dashes and stuff. You know, there's a bunch of stuff. But the point is, from me sitting here in free play doing a single wave dash, you know, I can now do so much more stuff. For example, I can do flips like this. You know, did I learn this flip from, you know, like this flip has come from me having just car control over everything else. And now I can do a bunch of, you know, random stuff. That's the point. Your car control is going to improve in general with you just practicing mechanics. Which is why I also think it's useful, as I said, to practice absurd stuff, like things like Mac Tuffs, because yeah, it might not matter in the actual ranked, but like you're going to improve your card control as a whole, and that's all that matters. Doesn't matter about that single moment. Matters about the long-term improvements. So learn any mechanic you can, literally. Don't practice something you don't have the card control for. You know, if you can barely hit a single reset, do not start practicing double resets. It's going to take you a million times longer than obviously if you practice single resets first and then moved on. So make sure you have the card control to do something, but practice it. And that's, you know. You know what? Here's another simple example. This. Back in the day, Squishy told everyone to, like, practice this. Or, like, Squishy was super good at this. You'll never see anyone do that anymore. This, like, sidewards dashing like this. You'll never see it anymore. That's such an old, like, 2016 thing. But because of that, I now know that when I land sideways, I can hold power slide and keep going. You know, that simple wave dashing mech, yeah, I don't use it anymore. Like the, you know, doing continuous one sideways. But now, because of me doing this so much back in the day, I now have just more car control, and I now understand as a concept, if I'm sideways, I can power slide and keep my momentum going. So, stuff like that teaches you so much. Even though, as I said, I don't use it again. And I never will again. I just won't. It's inefficient. It's pointless. But the car control I got from it is, you know, that's all that matters. And it's genuine. I'm so happy I learned that. Just improving car control in general. That makes sense. Yep. Was there anything else on that topic that I missed? Like, is there anything? I don't
know. I think what we have to understand, the question is, you know, what mechanics should I focus on to get faster? Like, there's a difference in, like, oh, what's the word? I'm blanking. There's a difference between being fast and, what's the word? I don't know. I'm blanking. Don't matter. If I remember, I'll say it.
Okay.
No, but I don't think you missed anything.
Okay, yeah. So to summarize, practice literally any mech you can. If you, but like, when you practice it, be very not autopilot and kind of think about, is what you're doing actually working? Because you don't, as I said, you don't want to practice a mechanic that you don't have the car control for. There will be stuff like that. So, try and learn something. After a day, think about, do you understand it? If you don't understand it, there is probably a pretty high chance that there's not even a chance you're going to be able to learn it. You probably don't have the car control to get it down. Ignore it. If you at least understand it and kind of like you can kind of see how it's done, you're probably in a good enough position to learn it and do it. So yeah, that is how I'd advise thinking. Learn anything you can. Super useful. As I said, for newer people, learn wave dashing, learn half flips. Gives you kind of in the general sense, it lets you practice flip cancels and it lets you practice wave dashing, which is super useful for everything. And then as soon as you can, try and practice chain dashing, wall dashing, and zap dashing is super useful. There's a bunch of other ones as well. I'd advise, honestly, go on Google and have a look. Genuinely, being able to... You know what? I'll say this because it's a kind of thing that links. I'm playing Apex right now a tiny bit. Not too much. I've played like 2-3 games. But the one thing that has made me want to play the game more is I watched a video today, just a random video. And it was some guy who was also learning. And he was just practicing movement stuff. He was just looking at movement. And yeah, sure. Is that like the most beneficial thing to learn as a complete new player? No, probably shooting and getting used to the guns probably is. But it's that sort of fun thing that, like, it kind of keeps you coming to the game and it kind of gives you an idea of what's actually possible. Even if I can't do it, you know, there's some things Jordan showed me. I have no clue how to do it and I probably won't for a while. But seeing that and seeing that sort of what's possible is genuinely really entertaining and that's sort of keeping me going. So, yeah, I'd advise that. Just like, have fun with it. Have fun with whatever makes you learn, basically, is what I'm trying to say to you. But yeah. What is the next thing?
Yep. Is it better to play in higher lobbies to get used to the speed or focus on ranking up in your own lobbies first?
Very valid question. You know what? I'm gonna ask you first. What do you think? Because recently you have been playing in high lobbies. You've been playing in lobbies you don't belong in. So how's that been for you?
I mean, the jump has been kind of crazy. Like I went from playing like top 128 teams to playing top 32 teams, or top 20 team.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, big jump. Obviously, I don't think you're gonna like anybody in ranked is gonna be able to get that big kind of jump.
Yeah,
but, overall, like the how do I want to like higher lobbies? Like yeah, you're gonna like without even like improving, you're gonna adapt to them. You're gonna start seeing what higher level people do. So no matter what, playing in the high level lobbies is gonna benefit you more than your own lobbies.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's gonna like I remember whenever we were playing, like you were talking about it after we played that I think it was that top 32 team. We played them and you were like, yeah, by the end like I was seeing like the plays, I was kind of reading them more because like obviously I had played with them.
Mm-hmm.
So it does help, but you also don't want to just play in those lobbies because like you also want to play at your own level, play be able to play around your rank. I think
Mm-hmm.
like also I don't really know how you're planning to get into the higher lobbies without like
Well, for
like
example, in Love Star's case, like when we play casual, like me and her,
oh
she automatically plays in like slightly higher lobbies. I don't know what it is exactly, but it is definitely higher lobbies than Champ. It's like GC something at least. Will playing lower lobbies for a long time make you worse? What do you mean by lower lobbies? Do you mean like, for example, let's say you're Champ? Do you consider by lower lobbies? Do you mean Champ, or do you mean like if you were to play in like Diamond or Plat, for example? It's weird for me because my casual MMR is like 1500 now. Nice. Casual MMR doesn't mean all in terms of like with rank, for example, SSL is 1875. I think I'm 2k in casual right now. It is not SSL. It is like GC2. Playing rank
yeah.
D1, yeah. That's just casual's just a bit weird with it. I mean
I think
D1 or
one
D2.
thing
Yeah, go.
sorry, one thing that you don't want to get in the habit of is like a lot of people I know, they'll play on alts, play at lower ranks. Don't do that. Like as we said, rank doesn't really matter. Like unless you want to like play with a friend that's lower or just like but there's no point playing in lower lobbies because you're just farming your ego. You're just playing it to feel good. You know, play your own level. If you lose, you lose. I think at least.
You can see
There's no point playing in
considerable.
lower lobbies.
Yeah, I can see considerable differences in speed and difficulty playing rank D1 versus cash. Yeah, and that's the thing. Even though the cash games are like GC1 or whatever, it's still probably like I don't know. It's not. It's just yeah, it's different. That's for sure. I would say I agree with Nathan. Higher lobbies are nice. First of all, just to clarify, to an extent, if you are a plat and you play in an SSL lobby, you're not going to learn a thing because the level is so much higher that the opponents don't even need to try against you, and like they're beating you by so much that there's no like experience to gain. So first of all, a big jump like Diamond to SSL, you're not going to learn much. You're really not. So don't worry about that sort of jump. If it's a jump from like for example Champ to GC, something where you're not getting completely destroyed without even like the opponents trying, then you're obviously going to learn a lot. Do not avoid your own lobbies. They are super useful because first of all, you need to get yourself up. Like if they truly are low lobbies in your like to you, then you should rank up. But yeah, I would say if you can balance, like let's say you hypothetically you could balance it, I would say like 60% of your gameplay should be your own level, and then 40% should be like higher, or like slightly lower if you do an alt, but do not keep it high. If you do an alt account, it shouldn't even be 10% of your gameplay. It should not happen often. The only time I'd say it's sometimes fun is if you are mechanical, because it can kind of bring out your mechanics. But if you're not mechanical, there is zero reason for you to be in a lower lobby. Like, literally zero reason. I have an alt account that is Champ 3 in ranked. What the hell? It's easier to play than the Diamond 1 lobbies. See, that's the case sometimes. And the reason that mostly happens is when people aren't improving and they're instead playing each game, kind of what we mentioned earlier. You're not trying to improve. The problem that people have with that, like sometimes they find their own lobbies easier than, let's say, the lower ranks, like Diamond 2 in your case. It can feel harder, the Diamond 2 lobbies, because they play completely differently. You're used to how people play kind of, approximately. Obviously, they won't play the same every time. But you're adapting to how someone plays in particular. The problem with that is then, obviously, if you play someone lower, or someone who plays different, it doesn't even have to be lower. Let's say you play a different region where they have a different playstyle. You're going to kind of get confused. So, to avoid that, do not... basically do not play the game based off of what you see. And I know it sounds weird, but for example, if you what's a good example of this? I know what I'm on about, but I don't know how to say this in a way that isn't like, for example, okay, here's a good enough example. So if you are okay, let's just say this. So if I have the ball in my own corner here, and let's say I've got the ball against a champ, for example, you know, this might not be true, but I'm just, you know, just saying it as general. Against a higher level player, we'll just say that. Against a higher level player, they won't challenge me in this corner. Because why? There's no angle on net. So the smart decision is to not challenge me, to an extent. I'm making this very broad. So they're not going to dive at me and challenge me here. Because if they do, they're throwing their position. Compared to a diamond, they're not going to be aware of that. Someone lower level might not like have that idea in their head. So they're going to dive at this ball. And that's the sort of thing that is going to happen. The high level people are going to be smart and aware of certain mistakes. Diamonds are not going to be, or the lower ranks. And because of it, they're basically going to make mistakes a lot more. So the problem is, if you think, let's say I'm here and there's an opponent there. If I sit here and go, okay, the opponent won't challenge me because I'm in the corner, and I look at it very black and white. I go, yep, I'm in the corner, the opponent won't challenge me because that's dumb. Yeah, you might get away with that, champ. That's not how you should be playing the game. You shouldn't think of it as, this is the correct decision, therefore, no one's going to push me. That's a dumb mindset. Instead, you have to look at the opponent and actually see, if your opponent's here, backwards, they're not going to challenge you. So you can safely say, okay, the opponent won't challenge me in the corner. If they're like this, you've probably got to think about them challenging you. So basically, don't generalize everything. Don't look at stuff as being right and wrong and then assume that everyone's going to play it right. Because that's why people struggle in lower lobbies. They sit there and think, okay, why would you go for that? I mean, I have that problem, you know, when I play with Nathan in twos, like a while ago. No, but like a while ago. Or like when I play on an all, sometimes I'll be like, why did he go there? And like, I know that why he went there because like, it was a dumb decision for him to go there. But he didn't know that it was a dumb decision. So instead, I should have been looking at his car and made an informed decision. So, yeah. Just to summarize, don't generalize everything. Don't look at what's right and wrong and then assume everyone will do the right thing. Instead, actually look at the opponent and see what they're doing. That way you won't make any decisions where you're like, why did he do that? That was just dumb. It'll also help you avoid till, because you'll probably end up blaming yourself more and you'll stop going, God, these opponents are just making mistakes and scoring. I have that problem, you know. Opponents make mistakes, it can be annoying. But if you start to look at it as your own mistake, because, you know, I should have seen the guy full boosting at me, you know, you can then start blaming yourself and improving from that. And you'll probably end up seeing yourself rank up a bunch more. So yeah.
For sure.
That is some bit more obscure advice, but honestly, I would say it's the best piece of advice for that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Just in the middle, somebody asked how to get consistent rotations earlier.
Okay, so
cover that.
Consistent rotations is a weird one because your game's going to adapt, and as people are going to have different playstyles, and that's going to cause you to rotate differently. As we just mentioned literally a second ago, do not rotate, for example, in a way that's right or wrong. Look at what the scenario needs and then rotate accordingly. That way, you know, because it'll change from right and wrong. You know, for example, in one scenario, it might be smart to rotate on these boosts. In the next scenario, though, it might be smart to instead rotate this way. You know, it's going to change. So be ready to adapt. Consistent isn't, you know, it's not like you can rotate the exact same path every time and get away with it. The play will need a certain rotation. My advice, and I'd say this is the single biggest one, if you want to rotate a bit more consistently, and what I'm going to judge that as is rotate in a way where you feel comfortable every single time. Because, as I said, you're not going to rotate the exact same way each time. But comfortability is the important thing. If you rotate and you feel comfortable, you're probably doing something good. So the first and single most important bit of advice is rotate wide. That is so important to not, let's say the ball is there and there's an opponent dribbling it. Instead of rotating, I mean, you can see it if we take this to an extreme, if I'm here, look how awkward it is for me to get the ball. I either have to reverse, and that takes too long, at that point I'm getting flicked. Or, if I try and do a really quick turn, and this is going to be a quicker turn than usual because, well, first of all, I'm not in a game, and secondly, there's a little trick with power sliding you can do to make it a bit quicker. But if I turn super quick, even then, look how slow that is. I'm still going to get beat. And if you don't, like, rotate quick, even worse, like, it's going to take you ages to get to that ball. So, that's a very extreme example. We call this narrow. Narrow rotations are where you're super on the ball with your rotation. So this is an absurdly extreme example. You would obviously never rotate like this. But if I instead rotate wider and we come to here, look how much less awkward this is. If his opponent is dribbling or anything, I'm going to be able to approach him really easily with the nose of my car. Compared to here, as we said, I can't really get the nose of my car easily. It takes quite a while, and even then, look at the angle I've got on the ball. I'm hitting it towards the corner instead. Compared to if I was here, I can instead turn on the ball and hit it towards the net very easily with zero effort. So rotating wide is super important for awkwardness.
Are you trying to stream free play?
Oh my god, yeah. I bloody... Oh! Okay, right. Okay, we'll go over it a bit quicker. For fuck's sakes, bro. Thanks for that, man.
Bro,
You should
I was No, because I was waiting for the delay, and I was like, this is taking too long.
I think the delay is only like a couple seconds now. I changed it, so it should only be like 4 seconds. Okay, right. So, as I was saying, we call this narrow rotations, where you basically are on the ball's path. So if the ball is rotating here and, you know, going that way, rotating narrow to an extreme would be me rotating here with the ball. And as you can see, that is super awkward for me to turn on. If I'm here, I have 2 options. I can either reverse, and that takes quite a while, and also I can easily get beat, or I can turn, but if I do a slow turn, it's going to take me all the way out here, and it's going to take me ages. And as I said earlier, even if I do a quick turn, it's still going to take me a while. Still not quick enough. There's some people learn also more at the higher levels that rotating 180 degrees is the worst. You actually lose momentum if you rotate anything other than 90 degrees, basically. So here, I'm rotating 180 degrees, because the ball is, you know, directly behind me. So it's going to take a long time. If I'm here, instead, where I'm only rotating 90 degrees, you can see how easy that is to turn on. I don't lose any momentum. It's instant, that 90 degree turn. So yeah, 90 degrees is the upper limit. But yeah, a bit of a side tangent. So yeah, here it takes way too long for me to turn on the ball. Like, someone could easily beat me here, and as you can see, the way I'm approaching the ball now, I'm hitting it towards the corner, which is obviously not good. I don't have a good challenge. Compared to if I rotate wide, so about here, wherever, it doesn't really matter. As long as I'm rotating wider than what I just was, now, when I turn, first of all, it's quicker, and you can also see I'm just naturally aiming the ball at the net now, like, very quickly, which is obviously super important for challenging, and also, even if you're not challenging, let's say this is an open net, for example. If I'm here, and I turn on this, it's going to be a lot harder to shoot this on goal. Compared to if I'm, let's say here this time, I don't know. It's going to be way easier to turn this on net. But yeah, that's kind of a practical example. Rotate wide, you'll feel so much more comfortable and consistent. So, the way I would do that, to begin with, is either rotate extremely wide. So, let's say I'm rotating back to net. Let's say the ball's here. I'm rotating back to net. Instead of rotating somewhere like here, if I normally do that, actively think about, like, basically either begin your rotations by thinking about it. So let's say I'm rotating out here. I have the choice of going middle or going this way. Let's say I have that active choice. You can either A, make the choice early to rotate extremely wide. So I just automatically go, yeah, I'm going to rotate here. Or the other thing is to actively think about it while you're rotating. So instead, I'll do my normal rotation and go, okay, let's rotate wider. So they're both kind of different. The reason I'm giving those 2 options is because some people might mentally find it easier to do one of those. So I think it's a good thing to mention. that there is different ways to approach it. As I said, you can either just as you're about to rotate, make the decision, or you can kind of let your subconscious take over, and when you're rotating, you'll, be able to basically force yourself to rotate wider than you usually would. Both have benefits. Benefit to the first one of automatically rotating wide is you might realize things that are possible that you didn't. So, for example, this might seem like a bad rotation in your head, but you might do this rotation and then realize, wow, I now have 70 boost, and I'm back at nets, and it's not like it was too slow compared to if you rotate narrow. You might think you might not even think that's a possibility to rotate this wide, because you might think, wow, that is way too slow. So, doing an extreme can teach you that stuff's possible that you might not have thought. So, I would advise taking both into account. But rotating narrow can kind of change your own habits without basically changing how you play. So, have a go at both. Definitely try out both. Should you try to keep supersonic most of the time, or is it actually okay to slow down, even stop? Okay. This is a hard topic to mention. Because it's very high level, the correct way to do this. I'll try break it down, though. First of all, the beginning of your rotation should be slow. And the reason for that is because you want to make a decision. Some people have a really bad habit, and this is more important in RCS, for example. Some people have a really bad habit of, let's say I come off the backboard. They'll instantly land and then just go out as quickly as they can. And sure, you're back at nets quicker. But let's just say, for example, what if my teammate was here and he could have passed the ball middle? Then I would want to be able to turn on that. If I want to be able to land here and turn on that, so if he passes it to me, I can shoot it or whatever. You won't notice that unless you take a moment to think before you land, or before you rotate. So it's not you have to actively slow down. It's not like if I land here, I don't have to hit the brakes and go, okay, right, what's going on? And then I can make a decision. It's just about basically do not rotate until you've made a decision. If you have to slow down for that before you make that decision, it's fine. So for example, I might wave dash, but then I might slow down a bit, think, and then go, yeah, I'm leaving. But, you could also, for example, I can just use this time to think when I jumped off the wall. So, just basically do not rotate out until you've made, until you've seen, kind of made a decision, basically. You probably aren't gonna, especially at Champ, for example, you're probably not going to stay in the play as much. But, it's more about the principle. Over time, it'll matter. Right now, it might not, in that single game, it might never benefit you. But long term, it will. So, at the beginning of your rotations, always think first before you actually rotate, because you'll notice stuff so much more. For example, here's a very extreme example. Some people, especially newer people, will rotate without ball cam. And because of it, they'll just drive out with no thought. And sometimes, the ball will literally just be in front of the net, and they won't have noticed it because they're too busy just driving away. You see it happen a lot to bronzes, silvers, golds, whatever. Those really low ranks. So it's an extreme example, of course. But if they turned on ball cam, obviously they'd be able to see if it was an open net. So it's an extreme example, but it's the same principle, Having ball cam on just so you can basically make a decision before rotating, same thing, So yeah, start rotations, keep it slow, basically make a decision before you just rush out and then go, oh crap, it's open, and then you have to turn around, and then, So yeah, that's the first thing. Bronze exists? I know, it's crazy. I've never seen one in the wild, it's actually crazy. And then, for your rotations, you kind of want to, honestly, you want to keep up that same principle of do not set a speed and stay at that speed. Look at what's going on. For example, if the ball is here, let's say I need to get mid boost. Obviously, there's no scenario where you do, but let's just say there is. Obviously, if the ball is there in that corner, I'm gonna have to rotate out super quick to get that boost to then be able to turn back on the ball. Because I just need to be quick in that scenario. Compared to, let's say the ball is here in my own corner, and let's say I'm here, for example. Let's say there's no opponents. It is just my teammate on that ball. Or let's just say it's a 1v1. Let's keep it simple. Let's say it's a 1v1 and the opponent is in that corner there behind me. He spawned left off of a demo, I don't know, some bullshit. I don't have to be as quick on my rotation here. I obviously might, just for the sake of it, but realistically, I don't have to full boost or anything. I can take my time because no one's near the ball. There's no reason to rush, essentially. Compared to if, you know, if there's a chance that the opponent might be on the ball or if there's a chance we get scored on something, you have to be quick. So basically, I can't really give a set thing on, do you need to be quick? Do you need to be slow? See what the play needs. Do you need to be back quick to cover your net? Let's say there's an opponent 1v1ing your teammate. You might want to be a bit quicker. But if no one's on the pitch, everyone's dead, for example, for some reason, you obviously don't need to rush around the pitch. You can chill out and take stuff at your own sort of pace. One thing I will say, in general, let's ignore the fact that the ball's in play. Let's just say you're rotating. You should keep your rotations quick, as quick as possible. I'm assuming here that you don't need to be involved in the play. That is what I'm assuming. You don't need to be involved in the play at all. So in that scenario, you can rotate super quick. But the one thing you need to make sure not to do is do not use enough boost to the point where you basically won't have... how do I explain it? Okay, right. I'll just show you. It'd be easier if I show. So let's go standard boost. Let me use 8. Okay, I have 78 boost here. So I can't gain more than 22 boost. Like, for example, if I rotate on this path, I'm at 100, and now I'm not picking up any boost because I'm already at max. So it's kind of inefficient. So instead, use enough boost to the point where you're being quick, but do not use enough boost to the point where you won't be able to get 100. For example, if I use all my boost now, I'm getting more boost, I can keep up my speed, but now I'm at 0 boost when I'm here. So instead, you know, let's say we have 60 boost, for example. I can get away with using 20 boost or so, but I'm still going to have 100. So here I can use 20 boost or whatever, but then from this point onwards I need to slow down, and you can see now I'm at 100 boost, but like, so I'm still at, you know, peak efficient boost, but I've also rotated way quicker. And that's simply because I thought about how much boost I'm going to pick up, which is about 72 in this case, and I could then just kind of like figure out, oh, I'm allowed to use however much boost here, and you know, that can apply anywhere. Like, I now know like I'm going to be 100 here. So you can kind of see what I mean. Basically, don't use enough boost to the point where you're going down in boost. That's the one thing you want to avoid. Don't go down in boost. You can avoid that by just flipping. But yeah, also don't be afraid to use boost. So yeah, if you're not on the ball in any way, or you're never going to interact with it, be as quick as possible, but make sure you're thinking about having, maintaining like as much boost as you can. And then before you rotate, don't just instantly rotate out, make an informed decision, and then decide to leave. And kind of keep that up throughout the rotation. When picking up small pads, do you boost a little just to pick more up? Random question. It depends. Like, in this scenario, for example, as I just said, like, it helps me. I use the boost because I'm rotating quicker, but I'm also replenishing the boost I'm using, so I don't need to worry. In general, it kind of depends. Like, I'm not going to talk about it because it's a bit advanced, but you might pick up the 12s to steal them for your opponents. You might leave them to save them for later or your teammates. Like, so in general, I can't really say, like, for example, if I'm 100 boost, do I boost a little bit to take them? In my own half, or if, like, an opponent might go over it, then, like, it kind of depends. If I think an opponent's going to get it before my teammate, I will boost to grab it. But if not, then, you know. I think the only way I generally can say that is, like, use pads as, like, kind of, like, how do I, like, just remember that they replenish your thing. So if I'm 100 boost and I want to be a bit quicker, it's fine for me to use a bit of boost. Like, you know, I'm going to get the boost back, so it's fine for me to use a tiny bit of boost. If you mean that, at least. Like, if I'm rotating around super slowly, you know, it's fine to use a little bit of boost. It saves you flipping, and if you can flip less, it's better. So yeah, if you can get more boost, then it's better to just grab the boost. Or, like, use a bit of boost to grab more instead of flipping, basically. It's a bit confusing. I haven't explained that too well, to be honest. I don't really know how to explain that well without getting complicated and then it becoming a mess, to be completely honest. Do you have anything to add to that, maybe? Because maybe you have a, you know...
For consistent rotations, I
Well,
don't
yeah,
know. To be
rotations
honest,
as
like
well.
one thing that I got taught recently is just to always rotate through mid, and as you said, make a decision before, like look
Always
for a
rotate through
demo, look
mid?
for something.
Who told
Yeah,
you
a lot of
this?
time. Kinsey, because
What
like
do you
you
mean
don't
by
want to
rotate
rotate.
through mid? Do you mean, like, rotating... I don't know what you mean by that.
Like okay, say you go for a play, right?
Yeah.
You don't want to rotate through the wall, beside the wall, because it doesn't allow you options to cut in or do anything. You want to rotate through mid, look for bumps, and don't flip until you've made your decision. Then you know it's the right one to go back or commit to a boost spot.
I don't agree with that.
You
I have
don't?
a fuck ton of reasons why I don't agree with that. This is... Okay. Oh my god, my game's lagging like hell. Okay, I'm just gonna clarify that, just because also it's just nice to... Rotating through... Okay, this is why, first of all, you've also got, not generalized rotations. Make a decision first, like an informed... Why am I lagging so much? Make an informed decision. What do you... Okay, you can see the screen, right? You don't mean, like, rotate like this, right?
It's delayed. I can't really tell you.
Here, let me just screen share so you
Streamer.
can...
Yeah.
Okay, you know what? I'm not gonna screen share because I'm lagging like hell for some reason. I don't know what's going on with my fucking game right now. I think my PC is having like a big aneurysm.
Yeah, your strat starting to lag on for me as well on Discord. Wait, I can stream it for you and show you quickly. Actually,
My
nobody else can
my
see.
like whole PC is fucked. Wait, give it a sec. Hold on,
Are you good?
little technical difficulty. I don't know what's going on. I'm
Uh-huh.
currently... My Rocket League looks really weird. It's not even rendering half a shit now. Like it's
Your
just fucking
GPU.
crashed.
Oh my.
All right, let me
Yeah, the
task
stream
manage
froze.
this. What is going on?
Oh wait, it's back.
Okay, yeah,
You
I'm
good?
back. Okay, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, my game is still lagging a bit. I'll just let it. Oh, what the? I just had a massive black screen.
You're cutting out for me so badly. What is going on?
Here, I'm just giving my game a sec.
Oh my god.
My PC is spazzing out. What is happening?
Is the stream fine?
I don't
Stream looks
know.
okay. Wait, no, it keeps freezing really badly.
I think I'm good. No. It's a
Okay,
little
hero's
laggy.
fine. It's a little laggy.
Okay. Do I just restart my Rocket League quickly?
I guess.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna restart Rocket League. We'll be back in literally a second. Okay, right. We are sort of back. I can't actually get on my Rocket League. My PC is kind of cooked right now. But as long as the stream's fine, it's okay. And we have Nathan if I need to like look at anything Rocket League related. But yeah, just to clarify on the thing that Nathan mentioned, he what he didn't mean what I thought he meant, so it's fine what he did. Should I do you want to show what you meant quickly?
Sure. Yeah.
Let me quickly add a display capture. We're gonna go into this. I'm just gonna add a display capture, keep it simple. Yeah, right. You can see Nathan's thing now.
Can you see? Yeah.
Yep.
It's block. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what I wanted to say was, like I said, don't rotate through me, but I kind of meant more don't rotate through the wall. Because like say, imagine I don't know, you've done a play, you land about here, or you're off the back foot, right? You don't want to do like this. Like, you don't want to rotate through the wall. And same for the other side. Like say like you land here and you'd go back. Don't want to rotate through the wall. Always what you want to do is whenever you're rotating out, you want to take this is a really good pad line to take, and you keep ball come on. This means that you can bump and you can always cut in at any time. Just what I meant more. Not essentially rotate through mid, but essentially just rotate so you have options.
Yeah.
And don't into the wall.
Yeah. 100%. Because as you said, you obviously because you're slightly more in the play, you get more options. And that option doesn't even have to be something like a bumper or pass. It could be the option of then rotating wide, but it's more about, yeah, as we talked about a bit earlier, making a decision before you're rotating. And by rotating a bit more narrow rather than super duper wide off the start, it kind of gives you that option to then decide, oh, do I need to be there for a pass, or do I need to, rotate wide? So basically, yeah, do what he said. Do not automatically rotate to the exact side of the pitch, because there's plenty of boost in the middle. There's more, actually, disregarding the 100s. If you rotate on the side, I mean, you can literally see on Nathan saying there's 112 pad, and that's it.
It's that spot that's right here is like where you
Yeah,
don't want
there's
to get
nothing.
caught. There's nothing, exactly. So just rotate here and you'll be completely fine.
Yeah. And
Always have enough boost to make it play.
It's a small concept, but it also adds to why you shouldn't rotate wide. You want to be doing something at all times in Rocket League. Rocket League is a very efficient game. If you're off the ball, you should still be doing a lot. And by rotating a bit narrow, you automatically, or like not rotating instantly to the walls, you automatically are doing so much more off the ball without even thinking it. Because first of all, you're going to be grabbing a lot more boost. Whether you mean to or not, you're naturally going to pick up more boost. So that's already a big benefit. And then the second thing, you're going to be much more involved presence-wise, to the point where even if you don't do anything, I mean, you don't cut, you don't do anything, because you're closer to the play, you're naturally having a presence on the pitch where people they're going to be a bit more cautious of you, because obviously you're not completely out of the play. So that's another big benefit. Or another two benefits that literally you don't have to do anything for, you'll just naturally have those as benefits. So yeah, super useful. So yeah, definitely try and do that if you can. But yeah, I think that is all. Is the game still rewarding at high levels? How to keep it fun? Oh, that is
even more rewarding.
That is very, yeah, I would agree on that. You will definitely know it, because
for sure.
you've improved so goddamn much in the past however long, even past month.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Here's what I'll say. If you play at a higher level, not like, as in, like, for example, Nathan, he played in some lobbies that he technically isn't part of, or technically isn't the same level as. Or for you, Lovestar, you play, even though you're playing, like, Diamond 2 Champ, whatever, you obviously play some GCs in casual and stuff. It will feel more rewarding knowing that you're playing a better opponent. Even if, like, you're doing the same stuff yourself. It feels like, for example, scoring a goal against a bronze doesn't feel as rewarding as, an SSL, for example. People like hating on this game, but I love it. It's such a great game. It's one of those games where you just gotta constantly improve, or else you probably won't enjoy it, to be completely honest. Like, at least that's the way I see it. But yeah, how to keep it fun, very important thing, because genuinely, it's with any game, not just Rocket League, any game. When you play for 5,000 hours, 10,000, whatever, it gets boring because you're doing the same stuff. So how to counter that? Don't do the same stuff. And I know it sounds obvious, but this is why we practice and improve and work on mechanics. It's, simple example. Let's just say in your instance, you from bronze to champ, you didn't even try to learn anything. You just played the game and that was it. You'd be bored out of your mind right now because if you played the same level of Rocket League you did from champ to SSL, it'd be boring. But if you then learn a bunch of stuff, that's what brings the fun to the game. Having learned all this new thing that, you weren't doing back at, however long ago. For example, when I first got SSL, I wasn't able to do, like, MacDuffs cleanly. I wasn't able to do, like, whatever. But now I can do that sort of stuff really well. And because of it, I naturally have more fun, even though I'm technically playing, at a similar, like, level, I guess. But yeah, mechanics, easiest way to go about it. If you want to have fun, practice some new mechs. It is such an important thing to basically just change up stuff and not be doing the same exact thing every single game. It will also, the thing that we mentioned earlier about finding something to improve on after each game, that'll help because once again, you're not doing the exact same thing every single game, so that by itself will be fun. And some people, like me and Nathan, you just get a lot of pride and a lot of enjoyment out of knowing that you are trying to improve at something, or like seeing that one scenario where the thing you tried to talk about or learn, you see it come into play. So that's another thing. Also, try different aspects of Rocket League. If you are a PC player, you have a big advantage of this, of course. Workshop maps, super fun. I've spent... Bro, remember that day when me and you went onto that workshop map, the water one, and we played that for so long?
Oh, water one.
You know the one... I think Left of Me made it. It's the big pit of water in the middle with, like, the sand on the side. And, like, it was super fun to get launched up by the water into place and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like barely remember that, but yeah,
we played it ages ago. But me and Nata never played workshops. I think that was the first work. No, not like, I mean together. We hadn't played workshops together.
Yeah.
But that was so much fun. Played that a bunch, and also after we then played the super tall like map. The super, it's like the map that's like the ceiling's like 10 times higher, and it's super fun. We played that on Boomer mode. But yeah, the point I'm trying to say, it is so much fun to mess around in workshops with friends, or to maybe play Boomer mode. Boomer mode's such a fun one. Like, I love playing it. Have a mess around, because like you'll improve from stuff like that. Remember, Boomer mode's a great example. Justin used to play that a lot. It's not like you're gonna be like, Boomer mode is ranked practice. It's not like you're gonna directly ever learn something from Boomer mode. But you get more car control at higher speeds of the ball. Like, you get to experience the ball at higher speeds and kind of read it and mess around with it, and that makes it so much more fun. I want to try it, the water one. I'll send a link in literally when I post the VOD. I'll do it literally after the stream. I won't put it off. I'll post the link to that thing as well, because trust me, it's fun. I'll post the link to the 10 times ceiling map thing as well. They're super fun to play. Genuinely hours of enjoyment, and like, once again, it's car control. Yeah, you're not like the water map, you're not gonna ever play that in a ranked game, but you kind of just get some car control from it, especially because like it's such a weird way to play the game. So yeah, super fun. I'll put both of those in. Yeah, heavily advise doing anything like that. You just need to keep the game different, and to do that, you need to try some weird things. And yeah, once again, look at the bigger picture. Like, as I said, it doesn't matter that you're never going to actually play Boomer mode in ranked or in a tournament. Like, you're going to get car control just from playing it, and, just become better from doing that. Literally, so many people play that. So many freestylers in particular. So yeah, that is my advice for keeping the game fun. You got anything on that?
Not really. I mean, I remember, like, you can try also... One thing that's kind of fun, if you get a couple of friends, or I remember when we used to play like 2v4 versus the Nextobots.
Oh, yes.
Like, that stuff was really fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, stuff like that, or yeah, the workshop maps are great. And honestly, even like going into casual and just like freestyling is fun.
Yeah.
I remember we used to like hit clips for your shorts channel.
Exactly. Literally any change is like, the thing is, I can't stress it enough, but from my point of view, as an actual competitive player, someone who's like kind of has to take this seriously. I remember I had a really bad time period where I was so like just found the game boring, and I even with like 50 hours in past 2, I'd find the game boring. Even with 30 hours, I just couldn't handle it. Literally right now I have like 90 hours, and I've just been doing a fuck ton of free play, fuck ton of casual. I mean, Love Star knows that. I've just been messing around. I'm not taking it too seriously. I'm looking at different aspects of the game and enjoying myself. I'm not, I'm not looking at the game as like a job, like I think I used to. So, yeah, that's also one thing. Remember, it's a game. I know people say it all the time, but you do have to remember that because it's such an important thing. But yeah. I think that will be all though. We have talked a lot on. Kind of got a bit sidetracked with half of it, so. But it's fine. It'll be there'll be a lot of shorts on that probably because they definitely need to narrow that content. And I'm going to upload a video tomorrow. I will edit it. I promise. I'm going to, and I'm saying that on stream now. Not because I planned on doing it, but because I know I will if I say I'm going to do it on stream. So
this guy he recorded the video and then he spent 5 minutes editing it, said he was bored, and he ended up playing like something else.
You know, it's sad as well. Like I did do quite a bit of it in that time, so it's not like it's because I have ideas in my head for it, and I know they're gonna take ages. If I was to just edit it now, it'd be quick. But yeah, I will upload that video. It's a very simple one, but it has a lot of useful tips, even for people that are like significantly better at the game. So check that out. I'll obviously post that as an announcement. But yeah, that'll be all. We did have a bunch of other questions to go over about team synergy and a bunch of other stuff, basically. But we'll go over that next stream because, yes, it's been a bit of a long one.
It has indeed.
But yeah, thank you for coming. We really appreciate it. And there's not going to be any outro sort of music shit. Because my PC's having an aneurysm, so yeah, we'll just end the stream.
Have a good one, everyone.
Yeah, thank you for coming. Very helpful stream. Thank you. No problem. The notes will be up as well on the VOD as well. But yeah, have a good one. Thank you for coming. Really appreciate it. And yeah, ciao, ciao. Peace.
Bye.